Can't you see the signs of the times? Don't you know that the time is short, and soon the Lord, He will return? Will you be punished or get your reward? There'll be no more time to get it right when the Lord, when He cracks the sky. So just keep your hand in His hand and be ready when at the mall with my friend Sheila, catching all the sales just before we headed down to the matinee. Early that day, she tried to lay her Christ philosophy on me like for the 100th time, talking about if I would just give God a chance, He could really change my life. But I wasn't trying to hear all of that, and besides, my life wasn't that scandalous. A little party in here, take it to the head there. When the smoke cleared, nobody hurt, just lifted, you know? But for sure, you need to leave that lifestyle alone. I mean, she was my girl and all, but I wasn't feeling the church thing. Give up the dance floor to join the choir so I can sing. But Jesus is everything you need and then some and more. She would lead practically to the floor on her knees begging me to change, but I'd rearrange the subject every time she brought it up. Filling my cup to the rim with the illest fire, just living fast but not loose. I mean, who's to say how I gotta live? That I gotta be a certain way. And it only took me one time to hear some preach at Sheila's church, and I've been back since that day. Coming out his face like he knew me, read my pages strong. I looked over at Sheila, I was like, what the is going on? Because I just knew she had to tell him something about me. Let him in on a little 411 because everything he was saying was in reference to me. From the intro to the conclusion, back the whole sermon. You know, and I felt like people were staring at me and judging me. And that was only because guilt had me so paranoid and convicted. Well, she did this one time too many as far as I was concerned, and so she just stopped inviting me because she knew I wouldn't return. But that didn't stop Sheila. She still kept coming with the message of the day speech. You know, as a matter of fact, on the way downtown to the matinee, she was driving while her mouth was going 50 miles per hour. When all of a sudden, as quick as my eyelids could blink, I saw this plane coming down at the sky, headed like a rocket for whatever. Then I saw another one, and then cars started crashing. 18-wheelers started turning over one by one onto the streets on the cars. I witnessed black faces turn to burgundy and white faces to snow. I didn't know what was going on. Everything happening so fast. And when I turned to act, Sheila no longer saw at the wheel. I had to reach over to press on the gas and the brakes and the gas again. Dodging and ducking possessed vehicles as the cries and screams escalated. Where's Sheila? Where the heck is Sheila? She was just going on ranting and raving about Jesus. I'm sitting on her new clothes and stepping on her Adidas she bought from the mall. I could call her from my cell, but we was going too fast for her to even pop out the car. And why would she anyway pop out the car? Oh no, I'm bugging. I'm hallucinating and waiting. Here's a Fendi bag and gold bangles. I'm pressing and braking on the gas till I can't feel my ankles. Humming profanity to calm my nerves. I heard something like this would happen one day. Sheila, my grandma, said it would take place like a thief in the night, steal my chance to get it right. Sheila, my grandma, and even our preacher mentioned something about Jesus coming back and whatnot. But I gotta be dreaming. It's just a fairy tale, right? Cars running wickedly through the light. I'm drenched in my new get-up in my spirit. I didn't hear it, but I felt it. When a deaf woman pulled on my wet material as I escaped the possessed vehicle, she seemed serial at first, as I thought, as she tried frantically with her hands to get me to understand that her baby stroller was empty and she was desperate for me to help her find her child. But I was yet bugging, trying to figure out what happened to Sheila, let alone help this woman in all this crazy, chaotic, twisted, all the way upside down situation happening around me and abroad. People running ballistically through the streets, yelling out names, asking what happened. Michael! Evans! Mr. Johnson! This day was like reliving 9/11, but to the fifth power, all across the raw. Parents plow academic hallways, turning over school buses, searching for their one own, while prisoners escape death sentences and 25 to life. I think twice about wilding out like the rest, but I can't help myself. If I could just find Sheila, then this day won't come to be what I think. I sink in my stomach at the very thought of it. Could have missed it. I run for cover as I continue to see crash after collision of people, places, and things. Want to bring this day to a page as blank as a cloudless sky, but dreaming must be the least of my agenda, because right now, this reality is scaring the hell out of me. Comes a crash so dramatic when I find my grandmother's house robe lying in her favorite chair in a sitting position. I couldn't listen for the panic in my own head when suddenly the radio station volumized. Thousands and thousands of people have suddenly vanished from the face of the earth. Men, women, children gone by the thousands. We have reports of countless cemeteries, missing graves, hundreds and hundreds of babies missing from hospital nurseries all across the world. We're receiving reports of uncontrollable riots and people running ballistically through the streets searching for their loved ones. We just received a report of a plane that has crashed.
Wow.
This is the 56th plane that has crashed in just this state alone. These planes have crashed into cars, houses, pedestrians. We're even told now that one of those planes just crashed into a church, instantly killing many during a service. This is by far an unbelievable catastrophe happening as we speak. My knees become weak as the truth hit me like never before. Sheila was telling the truth when all this time I just ignored. Reports kept pouring over the radio station as I turned the volume up, hoping that I had tuned into a comedy station, but the situation at hand was no laughing matter. I had her with me just moments ago, going on about God and whatnot, trying to tune her out to the latest music dumping on her car stereo. Although if what Sheila, my grandma, and even that preacher was saying was really true, I figured I still had more time on my hand before I consider. But now, frozen in front of my grandmother's mirror, I'm feeling real bitter, and I'm too afraid to go outside because all of those bodies laid out in the street like litter. The National Guards, the armies, the cops, what's left of them, are trying hard to calm the hysteria. But not just this whole area. The whole world is affected, disconnected from business as usual, and now experiencing something that has been talked about ever since the stormy hard age. God, what page was I on to think that I had so much time on my hands? Failed to understand the seriousness of the last days. Took it for granted while getting high, sexing it, sipping sophistically on Alizé. Heard my grandma say, wars and rumors of wars, and she quoted St. Matthew's 24. Everything I needed to be ready for this day was right in front of me and more. My heart's so sore, and the more I listen to the radio, the more I wish it to be a folklore, fairy tale, fictitious, not even funny kind of thing. Couldn't bring my heart to pray. I didn't know how. Lord, God, I knew that I was only praying because I was scared, just scared. have already died from the catastrophe, and it just doesn't look good. The reporter begins to panic. A static build on the radio station. I reach for the off button as I realized that I was in a horrible situation. And then I got my grandmother's Bible, trying to sort for anything to calm my nerves. Then I tried getting on my knees again, but my heart was so far from what I was doing. I know that I was only praying because I was scared. Just scared. I'm like, God, I'm sorry. God, I'm sorry, Lord. Please don't let me down here. God, I'll listen to whatever you tell me to. God, I'll get saved. I'll give my heart to you. God, I'll give my heart to you. I won't sex no more. God, I won't do drugs. I won't party. God, I'll obey you, Lord. Please don't let me down here. I don't want to die. God, God, please give me another chance. I promise, God, I promise, God, please. Please, God. Oh, God, knowing good and well, that if I could just wake up, and this all be a dream, I'll go back to do my same old thing. The evening is breaking. Planes are still falling. Thugs outside, wilding, shooting off their guns because they can't find their boys. Rushing past my window to hide for cover, when suddenly I didn't realize I was hit until my eyes woke up to total blackness. The smell of brimstone and fire. As the